the new Snap-on CT9015. Buckle up, this could be a bumpy ride. I'm Tim Johnson, you're watching Shop Tool Reviews. As I mentioned, we've got the new Snap-on CT9015, 9015 impact wrench in for testing and review. Now this is the half-inch model of the CT9010. The CT9010 was the 3/8 model of what they're calling their mid-torque design impact wrenches. They are brushless impact wrenches. Now several months ago, we reviewed the 9010, and then once we realized that it was kind of lackluster when it came to performance. In fact, pretty much every impact wrench that we compared against it, compact, mid-torque, whatever, it lost against, and we were quite unimpressed with the power output from the gun, especially when it was like an $800+ kit. I think almost $900 for the kit with the charger, the 2 batteries, and the tool. So we started hearing murmuring of saying, hey, you need to check out the 9015. And so it took a while for us to get it. We ordered it in October, and after about 4 different delays, we finally received it here in the middle of December. So we're glad we did. And listen, we get all the shipping delays, things like that. I think it's made in Taiwan, so I'm sure it came over from somewhere else. And obviously the shipping delays, like everything else, we suffered from that. So not gonna, get too upset over shipping delays. We get it. It's about everywhere that we deal with right now. Point is, someone said this is going to be a beast of a gun. It's supposed to be like 900 foot-pounds of torque, and we're like, wait a second. It's the same gun as the 9010, or at least it looks like it. Just a half-inch drive anvil, and this person online said, no, it's going to be a beast. It's going to be a completely different gun, or as far as the internals go, and you really need to try it out. The website says 900 foot-pounds, so lo and behold, the website did say 900 foot-pounds, and we ordered it. Even after all the delays, and still right now, the website still says 900 foot-pounds. However, when you scroll down and look at specifications, it says something different. Now, I've talked long enough. Let's go ahead, let's dive in and look at the features on this gun, kind of compare it to the CT9010. Then we'll use it on our test bench to really see what kind of power does it put out. Then we'll come back, tell you our thoughts on this, talk about pricing and about warranty and everything else. So I looked on the website, and it was a bit confusing because it said 900 foot-pounds of output torque or something like that, like, in other words, breakaway torque. However, if you scroll down to the specifications, it starts talking about 3/8 anvil, starts listing the same RPM speed as the 9010, and then gives the torque rating for the 9010, which didn't make sense because, again, in the first bullet points, and I'll show some graphics here what I'm talking about. So anyway, the website was very confusing, and we questioned, even so, would the 9015 actually put out what they're claiming, because it kind of went against itself. So we went ahead and said, you know what, let's put it to the test and see how it does. So that's what we have, is the 9015, which looks identical to the 9010 with the exception of the half-inch drive anvil here. So that's where we're at. Now, if you look at the specs, again, assuming that they're somewhat correct, the RPMs on this would be 1,840, and the impacts per minute would be 3,500. However, if you look here on the gun, and it's hard to see because it's kind of tone on tone, but it says, I think, 1,760 RPM. It's close enough to me, 1,760, 1,840. Not going to hound anybody over that. But at the same time, I'm not sure why you can't just figure out what your max RPM is with a tachometer. Very easy to find that. Anyway, so we're running on the 18-volt platform. We do have full batteries on here. Not that that matters yet. We're not going to the test bench yet. We get an LED light here. This is a variable speed trigger, a brushless motor. So, not only do we get that max 1,800 RPM, but I can make it crawl as slow as I want to with that variable speed trigger. And obviously, the more input I give it, the faster that's going to go. So regardless of what setting you're in, we can then vary that speed based off of that trigger, off that variable speed. We have that really squared off type of approach that Snap-on has on their 18-volt impact wrenches. Some people like it. I'm not crazy about it. At the same time, I'm not complaining about it either. It is pretty bulky, and I have large hands, so it is a very bulky, very big handle even for an impact wrench with that almost a square approach. As I think it's almost as wide as it is deep. Now, one thing I really like about the snap-on wrenches is the different color change, and I know this is kind of silly, but here on the basically the power modes on the lights, so when I'm in tighten, the lights are red. If I switch to loosen, the lights go green. So that's pretty cool. And then I can push the power button, and that's going to cycle through, you know, my different power. So go from mode 1 to mode 2 to mode 3. I do not like these blister buttons. I cannot stand these little tiny blister buttons. I think anybody can do better than that. But again, I know that's kind of minuscule. Typically, you're probably going to leave that on 3 and let it go. The same way with their batteries. I think they've updated their batteries now with both not having this single button that's kind of hard to press to get off. They have the twin buttons, almost like a Milwaukee battery, where you squeeze the sides to get it off. But this is the somewhat older style battery, even though it came brand new with this tool. So just pointing some different features out here. So we covered the power mode. So we get 3 power modes in tighten as well as 3 power modes in loosen. And again, those LED color changes based off of which way we have the directional lever and which way the anvil is turning. Again, depending on which part of the website is right, this either has 900 foot-pounds of breakaway torque, or it has 325 or 340, something like that, pounds of breakaway torque, and we will test that here in just one moment. Let's look at some of the sizes on this. When we look at height, and again, this is identical to the 9010, just under 10 inches with the 5 amp hour battery. And as far as the length from the anvil to the back, you're right at 7 inches for that. And then as far as across the tool, right at 7 inches. So right dead on, or that's 70 millimeters. There we go. So 2 3/4 inches across the tool, and again 7 inches from front to back. Let's get a weight on this. With the 5 amp hour battery, pounds and ounces, 4 pounds 15 ounces. So right at 5 pounds. So just an ounce short of being 5 pounds with the battery on it. Now, otherwise, other than the questionable power rating, the 9010 and the 9015 pretty much look identical. They share all the same characteristics, obviously the same body. And with the RPMs being the same, I would assume that even our internal counterweights and dogs and everything else is probably identical. The only difference is probably this anvil. At another date, we'll probably take this apart and check it out. But let's go throw it on the test bench and see what we get. We have everything torqued. We're going to start at 150 foot-pounds. We'll make sure that we're in reverse. So we have the green lights. We're in power mode 3, so max power. And here we go. By the way, if you don't know, what we will do is we will let this hit for 10 seconds to break free the fastener. Obviously, if it breaks it free sooner, we'll move on. If on the 10th second, the socket is moving, so that's why we have these index marks on this socket so we can easily see that it's moving, then we will go ahead and let the impact wrench finish. So if after 10 seconds it's starting to move, we'll stay hammering at it and give it that fastener. But if it's not moving on the 10th second, then we will shut it down. That was a great example there. So we were at 200, 250, 300. We were at 300 foot-pounds, and at 10 seconds, it was starting to move. Even though it took probably 15, 16 seconds to break that free, it was starting to move, so we went ahead and let it have it. So now, that was 300 foot-pounds. Now we're at 350. So we're looking at 350 foot-pounds of breakaway torque, which puts it right in line with the CT9010. So basically the website is mistaken, and the power rating shouldn't be looked on your first description, but in the specifications area where I think it says 325 or 340 or something like that. So we're definitely breaking free 350, but it is taking the maximum amount of time to do that. Now here's my frustration with that. Is that this is a primo gun. This is, you're paying top of the line money for the Snap-on brand. This is $400 for the bare tool, give or take a few bucks, and $800+ if you get the kit with the battery. Now here's my beef with that. I can take a 3-year-old 12 volt stubby impact wrench and put it on that fastener. And back that off. Now I know it took the maximum amount of time, but again, we're talking a lot cheaper tool, a lower voltage tool, which I know voltage doesn't mean everything, but I could get into scientific talk with you on that. Regardless, my point is we're buying a premium tool and it's not outputting what this little stubby will do. That's frustrating to me because I think that hurts the brand. I really do. Not that I'm saying that this needs to put out 1,000 foot-pounds. I'm not saying that at all. But it should put out more than what you would buy off of a lot smaller and a lot cheaper tool. Well, I can't say that we're surprised because these two guns are pretty much identical as far as power goes. One's got a 3/8 drive anvil, one's got a 1/2 inch drive anvil. So obviously the website's wrong. Well, you say, well, Tim, listen, they sell off a tool truck. You know, they sell off of their franchisees. And I get that. They're primarily a tool truck brand. However, they are the premium tool truck brand. They typically charge the most money and they claim to have the best tools, which I will not argue when it comes to hand tools. Snap-on has some of the best hand tools out there. However, I think when it comes to power tools, they're charging a premium price and not hitting the mark when it comes to power. And that's what we argued with the CT9010. The same case with this. Also, you're the premium tool brand. Your website should somewhat mimic that. And when digging into the website, what we have is, and someone said, well, I think they may be getting confused with a new CT9015 that's coming out, and I think it's on a few tool trucks, but they don't even have it on the website yet. And so they probably have the numbers for the CT9050, because if you scroll down and look at the specifications, it has the 240 foot-pound or 225 and 300 being tightening torque and loosening torque, and I get that. But they also have 3/8 drive anvil for the 1/2 inch drive. So there's a lot of convoluted mess in there that looks like there's information from 3 different impact wrenches on this one description of this impact wrench. So Snap-on, I think you need to fix that. I think you're confusing people. Again, I'm not trying to beat up the brand. I'm trying to say when someone is after the premium of premiums, then they expect something for their money. That's called value. That's called what am I getting for that dollar I'm spending? Not am I spending the cheapest amount, but what I am spending. Maybe it is that this is an $800 impact wrench and it's worth every penny. We're not seeing that, especially when you compare it to a 12-volt tool and it can outperform it. And I think that looks bad on the brand. I think that looks bad for the resellers out there. And we always want to bring the truth. We're not trying to hammer on anyone specifically, but we would like to see a tool that stepped up. We think this is lagging behind a little bit in both design as well as performance. So we would love to see that. We'd love to see the CT9015 as well. We hear that's going to be a beast of a gun, but you can't find any information on it. So anyway, hey, that's our thoughts on this. Again, not trying to be ugly on this whatsoever, just trying to bring you the truth in this. But as far as the CT9015, if you've heard this is a more powerful gun, it is not. You saw it had trouble breaking free 350 foot-pounds, and that's pretty much what it is. This is a small gun to hold, but at the same time, it's not really small, so it's not compact by any means. But check it out for yourself if you want to, but also I'd ask Snap-on to make fixes to their website so that you're not seeing misinformation that's out there. Oh, I hate that word. That's an ugly word. That's misused a lot. Anyway, so that's our thoughts on it. Make sure to check it out. Also, keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Hey, if you don't mind, would you hit that like and subscribe button if you like this video? If you hated our video, give us a thumbs down. But would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day and keep smiling. By the way, Snap-on, you've got my email address. You've got my phone number. We welcome a phone call. We'd love to talk to you and discuss these matters. Have a great day.